Well, so that, and that is what we are. And there's also you can also make your own projections into how things are happening. So in this era, of misinformation and disinformation, this is where you stick. Of misinformation and disinformation, this is where you stick and stay, because this is where we give you and stay, because this is where we give you all that has happened, closed the polls and all of that. Even though that when you went to vote,
I voted both. I voted both parliamentary and I voted in the Lejikuku constituency. I voted in less than 5 minutes.
Right.
You know, for both. It was very smooth. There was nothing but very smooth. There was nothing but that's very typical of my polling center.
Okay.
There's usually I don't want to buy into the the argument that people actually didn't turn out. I hope that they did. So 5 p.m. the voter turnout. Unfortunately, I don't know if that was said and we missed it, but we have our correspondent there and we'll be crossing. It'll be very good to get that in there and we'll be crossing. It'll be very good to get that information.
Right. All right. So let's cross over to the Western region. Kwame Mao.
And we are ready to we've actually served through some various polling centers, and some of the results that we got from the Community Information Center G for the president. Garnet A for the presidential, the vote cast was 200 election results, and it looked like some form of a skirt and blouse was taking place there. For the Community Center A, the parliamentary was seeking for re-election at the presidential MPP to actually depict a skirt and blouse scenario. Tabuasi was that East. The presidential MPP garnered 156, New Force garnered 7. Hello. 7 NDC Canteen 59, and I think Germans are garnered 167. So it looks like a mismatch, but it's still very early days. So we are the polling coalition center, and all will come to bear. It looks like it's going to be a long haul as always. So we are sticking and staying to actually give the best for our viewers. We are EIB Excellence in Broadcasting.
And I will come back and continue the conversation, but I have to know what is happening on the grounds. But what we do know is that as it stands now, the map of Ghana looks very empty, green. We'll get to understand all of that shortly. I mean, but clearly from the trends that we've seen so far, any surprises there for you, Sarah, looking at the trends that you're seeing?
With Noah Nash, our correspondent.
Just give me a second. Yes, you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you.
Now
where exactly are you?
Counting ended the entire process, 1 page for presidential, and then the NDC 308 spot for presidential, and then rejected ballot 10. That is a 2 day, and they've done the counting and everything. So they are just looking for the parliamentary party.
Okay, Noah, thank you. Noah Nash, some of the results coming in so far and whether
likely to lose the polls. Not margins, giving people a change at a regional level in this particular cycle.
All right, Ibadola, I said that we should go through the results from previous years, especially presidential. Do you have that ready?
Yes, 1 million people go out to vote for who should be them. 9.279, the NDC won that particular election, led by John Jerry Rawlings. In the year 2000, that's where we saw the decline in the voter males. Then candidate males had lost the call from 9.77%, and then we again 11%, and then whatever you want to call it, the seat of the presidency, and both of them fell short of that number, and so we had to go for a runoff. The dynamics around that particular figure evidenced and showed that indeed turnout was development, and so they gave John Ejekum 8 million, and so they gave John Ejekum 8 million valid votes that were used almost when indeed there was John, then at the time, John Evans Tamils, and then Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo to John AI and main particular election. It was quite a tense moment. We had quite a tense moment. We had then candidate John Dramani Mahama come to the fore. Just a few Mahama come to the fore. Just a few months to the election, because then we had lost sadly. We had lost. I live in the States in so much out, and we were so sad. Many were sad. I don't know if you were sad at that time, but many were indeed not happy at 10. He lost his life. He died. And then John Dramani Mahama came to the fore and he won convincingly for the NDC. And then he led them to the 20 votes cast. As you would see evidence on this map, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo told him, you know what, I have on this map, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo told him, you know what, I have tried enough. I have gone from 2008, I've gone 2012. I am going to show you that indeed I am the one the Ghanaian people want. Now, what we need to pay attention to critically here is that in that particular electoral cycle, the conditions that are prevalent here, the speeches, the narratives, the woes, the cries, the things that people identified with, that president, then candidate Akufo-Addo identified himself with, is the same thing we are seeing now. You may want to go in the narratives of the better or the worse of it, but it is on the same tangent. And that is what happened in 2016. We saw a dip in the voter turnout, and when that dip occurred, we saw then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo poll some 53.6% of the entire total valid vote cast. That gave him 5,773,299 votes out of the total close to 10 million that were polled in that particular electoral cycle. Unfortunately, John Dramani Mahama lost that particular election, and the NDC were booted out of power. The narrative changed in 2020. Akufo-Addo did some 53.6% in the year 2016. But in 2020, we were a nation that had gone through a global pandemic. It was evidenced everywhere. Whatsoever narratives you want to add, it is up to your own spice. Don't come and spoil my chicken. But all I'm trying to tell you here is that there was a decrease in the percentage that then candidates, who was still the incumbent, Nana Akufo-Addo, polled in that particular year. But here's the trick. Although there was a decrease in the percentage you got out of the total valid vote cast, we were doing some 17 million at the time. And so although he had some 2% short, 50-20 gave him some 6.7 million. And that gave him an edge over John Dramani Mahama. What am I telling you over here? That it's not just about the dip in voter turnout. The numbers be it also matters. So we are doing 18 million numbers that they may poll out of the total valid vote cast, saying that if John Dramani Mahama is to get the same 47.4%, he will do better than he did in 2016. You know why? And in 2020, because the numbers is now not 17 million, it's now 18 million. But of course, if he polls below 50%, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia polls below 50%, they are both losing the elections, and it will go for a runoff. So 2024, as we see it now, the map is quite empty because the contest between John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has not been called yet, because we are now receiving in tiny bits of information the polling station data, which is not indicative yet of whether the NDC will maintain a stronghold of the Volta region or the Ashanti region will still stay true to its loyalty to the elephant. Whether or not the narrative will change or will be better, the shocker of it all, we will find out shortly. But as we have all been saying, it's going to be uncomfortable for at least some 5 million people in this country, because the party that they voted for will not win the elections.
All right. Thank you very much, Ivan Olejabeng. Let's cross over to Ho in the Volta region. My colleague Jones Aji is standing by in the whole central constituency with some Hohoi constituency, I beg your pardon, which is a lion's den, because it is the only seat that is being occupied by an NPP member. But we understand that things may tilt. What are the people saying? Jones, thank you very much for joining us. Good evening.
Good evening, Sawa, and I'm at the Alistana polling too as well. Interestingly, we understand that 4 years ago, this was the station that actually spoke to a few persons, and one woman spoke to me and she said that she took the money this morning, she received 50 cedis, but then she decided to vote against John Peter Mewu, and there's so much jubilation. I have the woman right there in front of me. Hello.
Peter Mewu.
Yeah, but then who did you vote for?
I vote for
Not been given to us yet.
All right, Jones, thank you very much. That is my colleague Jones Aji reporting. Magbana, who is a member of the NDC, who is also a PC in Ketu North, you know, which we all know is
we don't need results
for Ketu North, you know, but he has just posted, you know, but I mean, we will wait for the official results from the Electoral Commission to give you, so you have verified results. But as it stands, seems to suggest that Peter Mewu has lost the seat, even from the jubilation that you see over there. Surprised?
That
it's a lion, proper
not
lion's den
for him. You know, yes, Aswansi is also a lion's den, but it's a bit comfortable for Muntaka Mubarak. But then when you look at Hohoe and you look at the turnout in the area, you look at how the dynamics play out in the area. One of the things that has dominated this election is the fact that sometimes, yes, local politics play a very huge part, but the national politics also has its way of influencing how people decide to vote, especially in those areas. Now, it's the only seats that the NPP held in or holds currently in the Volta region, and so Peter Mewu knew that it was not going to be an easy fight. But as to whether or not he was going to outrightly lose, I'm sure that, well, nobody goes into an election hoping to lose, especially since he is the incumbent in the area. And so, looking at the demographics and what we have also seen currently in terms of the voting pattern, the provisional results that have come in from the constituency, and yes, like John said, there is jubilation on the streets, but then could it be premature jubilation? Well, we cannot tell. We'll wait for the Electoral Commission to furnish us with the final results in the Hohoe constituency. But what we are hearing and what is the case on the streets of Hohoe is that the jubilation seems to suggest that John Peter Mewu might have lost the seat this time around. But then we'll get the figures and then we can make conclusive statements. There is a change. There's a change, but that's what the people are saying there.
Okay, well, like we've been saying all night, it's early days yet. You know, it appears that it was a Zongo part that voted for him, and this time they don't have that. I'm looking right now at the 2020, you know, results from the Volta region, presidential overall. Even though it's still early days yet, we don't have the full results from the Volta region. We have always known that the Volta region has been the World Bank of the NDC, because in 2020, even if you go back to 1996 and whatnot, you see that's always gone in the favor of the NDC. Right. But in the year 2020, the NDC's John Dramani Mahama had over 600,000 votes from the Volta region and the Volta region. It'll be interesting to see. The NPP kept touting, you know, that even the Volta that you saw a lot of videos where they made the argument that they had done a lot of work, and so even the Volta region was going to vote for the NPP. It'll be interesting to see, and even you know, the overall results from the Ashanti region as well, because the NDC targeted about 30% votes from there, and the NPP targeted about 85% vote, according to the regional chairman of the NPP there, Chairman Wuntumi. But it's important to let you know that it's early days yet, and so I have already seen people calling the election. We don't have the power to call the election. What we will do is to be giving you provisional results as and when we get them from our correspondents, you know, but we won't call the election. It is the job of the Electoral Commission, and we have our correspondent stations there now, you know, and they will be there until a president is declared. But please, people should, you know, because we are in an era of a lot of misinformation and disinformation.
Exactly.
And I'm seeing a lot of results on social media. I am seeing a lot of candidates themselves saying they have won. From the likes of A+, right. I see to Calvin Powell, who has some updates for us. Where's Calvin reporting from?
Well,
earlier it was from Ofanko. I don't know if he's still there. Yes. Calvin, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Sawa.
Tell us where you are and what you have for us.
So I'm currently at Okankwe Central constituency. All right, so currently out here from the various police, where every ballot that is brought will be recounted and the result projected for the media to see. But I have some provisional results from some police stations that I visited personally. And the first one has to do with the Alive Chapel Polling Center, where the MPP, Dr. Baumia, got 142 votes, and NDC's John Mahama had 117 votes. Alan Kojo-Chemante got 2, Nana Kwame Bediakun also got 2, and 1 ballot was rejected. The same polling station, the parliamentary MPP's Patrick Yao, in total, the ballot cast was 264, but the expected voters were 435, So we recorded an absence of 171 voters. 171 voters couldn't turn out at the Alive Chapel polling station. Dr. Baumia got 34. Nana Kwame Bediaku got 2. Alan Kojo-Chemante got 1. 1 ballot was, and the total votes 64. Where Babas now Overcomers Nation Church, Tesano, 1, and 2 ballots were rejected. As you can see, a lot, if you like, orders mounted by the EC. So we will be able to give viewers the necessary votes that came from various polling stations across the constituency as far as Okankwe Central is concerned. So.
All right, thank you very much, Calvin Powell, reporting from the Okankwe Central constituency, which is also, I want to say, a fiercely contested constituency because of the people involved. Even though, you know, political watchers have said from day one that Patrick Boamo of the NPP was going to retain that seat, but you have Baba Sadiq, who has, from the people who showed up, you could tell why Baba Sadiq believed that he could win the constituency. We are not saying he's lost the constituency, but from the provisional results that Calvin just gave out, it appears that Patrick is in a lead from some of the polling centers. But once again, it's early days yet, and so we will hold on and wait to give you, a full, the full numbers when we have a full appreciation of what the numbers are saying. So you have Okankwe Central, the 2 leading contenders, which is Patrick Boamo of the NPP. He's been MP for 2 terms, seeking for a 3rd term. And then Baba Sadiq, who is an entertainment, he co-owns 3 Music also, yes. So he's also the contender from the candidate from the NDC. But a little later, we'll bring you the full details when we have on who is actually winning that seat.
Yeah, we'll get the figures on the face of the pink sheet because that's where it really all matters. But let me take you back to Hohoe and let's talk about that, because in the 2020 elections, they voted skirt and blouse. The people of Hohoe decided to vote for John Dramani Mahama for the presidency, and then voted Peter Amewu for the parliamentary seat. So you look at the total votes and you realize that John Dramani Mahama polled 33,517 votes in Hohoe in 2020, and that summed up to about 69.36%, while Nana Akufo-Addo just polled 14,389, which was 29.78%. Now look at where it gets interesting. For the parliamentary race, John Peter Amewu polled 26,952, which was 55.26% of the votes. And then Professor Margaret Kweku, she got 21,821, which summed up to 44.74% of the votes. So when you look at the difference, it's just a little under 5,000. a little under 5,000 votes for John Peter Amewu in the 2020 elections in Hohwe. But let's come back to Accra. Let me take you to Koro. In fact, it's been one of the areas that has had consistent issues. In fact, we were also told that one person was arrested early today because the person was allegedly dishing out money to someone at the polling station. Mutala Inusa is our man who's been monitoring Crowell, and he's joined us. Mutala, so as it stands now, where are we in the electoral process? Are we collating? Are we counting? What's happening?
So, like we do know, 5 p.m. exactly, voting came to an end in most of the polling centers, especially those areas that people have already done with those in the queue. There were a few places that persons after 5 p.m. were still in the queue voting, but most of the places, in fact, one concern that came out within this very constituency is the voter turnout. Most of the places that I visited, even before the voting came to an end, less than 50% of the total registered voters expected to vote turn up to vote. So eventually, if you are looking at the voter turnout, possibly it is not as expected. But of course, the voters have decided, those who decided to go and vote have decided. If you come to Nungwa currently, Kowa constituency, the wind is blowing in favor of Agnes Namomolate, especially the few areas that have been counted. And for Kowa constituency, former 5JHS police station, the total ballots that were cast were 160. And NPP for the presidential elections, NPP, that is Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, had 63. John Dramani Mahama, NDC, had 93. Then CPP1, Cheddar, had 3. Then when you look at the parliamentary elections at the Chroma 5J Church polling station, the parliamentary, NDC, which is Agnes Namomolate, had 79 votes. And then NPP, Engineer Emmanuel Odailai also had 79 points. Independent candidate, he had 2 votes. So that is in relation to the Chroma 5 JHS. And Joshua, Chroma 3 and 4 B primary school, there were also some interesting results that came out from there. For the parliamentary, the engineer Odailai, I beg your pardon, had 124. Then Dr. Agnes Namomolate hold 174. That is for the parliamentary. And then the presidential, NPP, that's Dr. Mahmoud Maubia, had 110. And then the NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, hold 182. That is for the presidential. The independent candidate, one of the independent candidates, Cheddar had 1. APC also had 1. Then there was 3 rejected ballots in all. So from there, Joshua, another polling station or polling center within the same premises, Chroma 3 and 4A primary school, the one that I mentioned earlier is the B, and this one is the A. The A for the presidential, NPP, that is Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, polled 129 votes, 129. NDC, former President John Dramani Mahama, polled 185 votes, 185 votes. Cheddar had 3. Then rejected ballot, 3 of them. Total registered voters, 449. And then total turnout was 318. Then from there, you look at the parliamentary elections. Out of but in the same constituency, Engineer Odailai for the MPP, he had 140. Dr. Agnes Namomolate had 174, and rejected ballot 84. The other contenders did not have any vote from that particular collation center. So currently, I am walking straight to the collation center, which is the Nungwa police station, where all the votes will be tallied over there. And walking through town, the atmosphere is, if you see the cars blowing the horns, the NPP, NDC part supporters in town, shouting and making all the noise there, telling you that all the areas that have been counted so far, it is pointing to the direction of Agnes Namomolati, doctor. But I must put on record that if you come to this very constituency, a total of 107,746 voters are expected to vote. So this one that we have mentioned, just the fact the atmosphere here is truly what there is on the ground. But what is clear is that so far the area that I have been to, and then the collations, the results counted, all of them came in favor of both the NDC parliamentary candidate, that is Dr. Agnes Namomolati, and former President John Dramani Mahama of the NDC. So when you come to Krowa right now, there's that atmosphere that the NDC probably will be winning both the parliamentary and the presidential elections here.
Mutala, thank you so much for bringing us updates from Krowa. And so any surprises there for you?
Well, no, not really.
Because
not really.
The pollsters had predicted that Krowa and then other constituencies along the coast are likely to either turn green or remain green. But then
let's go to the Volta region, and my colleague Peter Dato is in Ho, joins us via phone. Hello, Peter, thank you so much for joining us. What do you have? Hello? Hello? Okay. We apologize for that, but we're trying to bring you some updates from the Volta region. Peter Dato there. But yes, the results from Krowa, both presidential and parliamentary, appears to be going in favor of the NDC. Like you said, no surprises there. It's been predicted that that's how it's going to go. And I see that Emmanuel Ejabing is on standby as well to join us. We're getting some shocking news from some quarters. In fact, I'm getting some results from the Adentan constituency. So far, though, not looking good for Cozy.
And that is something that I'm sure that a lot of people would be wondering. I mean, we sat here 24 hours ago and we were looking at the dynamics in Adentan, looking at the fact that Cozy is a candidate who comes in with some level of resources among others, and that looking at the fact that she's doing road construction among others, those things might inure to her.
All right, Joshua, hold on for me. Let's cross over to Blessing, who is at Tema West. We understand there's some sort of confusion at the Coalition Center. Blessing, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, good evening.
Blessing, where are you and what can you tell us?
Currently, I'm at Ablekuma West.
Okay. What do you have for us?
Yeah. We are done with counting for the AMD. This is St. Martin's de Porres. And looking at the figures, we have NPP for the first station. We have NPP 210, NDC 179, New Falls got 7, Alan got 5, rejected votes are 4, fault votes are 3, and then total votes are 409. The parliamentary candidates got 215, NPP, that's ESLA, got 215, NDC 181. And then for our second station here, we have NPP getting 192, NDC 186, New Falls got 2, Alan got 5, and then for the parliamentary, we have 225 for ESLA, and then NDC 180.
Okay, Blessing, thank you very much for bringing us these updates. But we are picking up information that things are not looking so good for the incumbent member of parliament. Is that what you're getting, the indication? What is happening in the constituency?
Well, with what I have currently, the gap is not that wide. You would see a difference of about 20 votes, around not even up to 50 votes for what I have currently. So obviously the gap is not that wide. The
gap is not wide in favor of who?
the gap is not wide in favor of Ursula Owusu.
Right. Okay. But what is the constituency like? What's the mood in the constituency?
It's a calm one. For where I am currently, it's a calm one. For the streets, I could hear the motorbikes and the horns all over. We are yet to find out why the noise is on the streets, but every now and then we hear the noise. But for the stations, they are quite calm, and for the places I've been to, they are quite organized.
All right, thank you very much. Blessing. They're reporting from the Ablekuma West constituency with the incumbent Member of Parliament, Ursula Owusu Ekofo. Watchers have said that, you know, she's likely to retain the seat, right?
Yes.
That just as
because, yes, I mean, Reverend has been on the grounds. I mean, I remember that his final rally in the constituency, he brought Malik Basintali. So Malik was there to ginger up Ablekuma West for Osofo in Ablekuma West constituency. And so, looking at Ursula, how she's performed in Parliament, her popularity in terms of even on the national scale, and the figures that Blessing gave us, I mean, the margins were quite slim.
Yeah.
And so you would wonder, and these are just few centers in the constituency. And so, like we have always said since the beginning of this broadcast, it's early days yet. And so anything can happen. But from what we have received so far from Ablekuma West, it doesn't look like Ursula can say she's in a comfortable lead. And that's where it gets dangerous. Because what if these centers are in areas where Ursula holds the ground? What happens? Bukari is on standby. Monica, talk to me. What is happening in Medina now?
Well, Joshua, I just came back from the Medina police station where we had 5 centers there. In the beginning, everything was okay. During the time of counting, you know, normally when they are counting, there should be that barrier between the electorates and those counting the ballot papers as well. So this time around, because it was in the premises of the police station, they used the main gate as the barrier to prevent them from coming nearer to where the counting was taking place. And it's quite generating some kind of misunderstanding. But at the end of the day, everything went under control, and then they had to settle and counted everything. And now we are back here at the Presec Boys High School, Presbyterian Boys High School, Presec, at Lagos, near the Atomic Junction, around the Medina, just as where the collation center is. And when we got here, there was some kind of misunderstanding once again, because according to them, there was a platform created where they had all the other polling agents on it, and they were told after press briefing that everyone that finished counting the ballot papers should head to the Electoral Commission to present the ballot boxes over there before coming to the collation center, because at the collation center, there's no longer going to be the ballot boxes anymore. There's rather going to be the pink sheet, which is going to be the one that they will use to announce both the presidential and the parliamentary as well. So it kind of generated some kind of misunderstanding here. But the police were, as usual, in control and had to direct every other person who brought BS here back to the Electoral Commission as well. So presently, we are here at the Presec Boys High School at Zongo Junction, or Presec, near the Zongo Junction.
Well, I'm not happy you are saying Presec is near Zongo Junction. We are not near Zongo Junction. Anyways, Monica, do we have any figures so far from Medina? Do you have any figures so far?
Okay, yeah. So we had 5 centers at the Medina police station, and then station 2, we had NPP taking the presidential 55 votes. Parliamentary, NPP had 58 votes. And then the NDC, with the presidential, had 56. And parliamentary, they had 56. So with station 1 at the Medina police station, NPP presidential, we had 76. NDC presidential, we had 74. And then parliamentary, NDC had 79, while NDC had 74. Rejected ballots were 2. And then when you come to the center, when you come to station 5, still at the Medina police station, we had presidential NPP 78, parliamentary 85, NDC presidential 82, parliamentary 78, rejected ballot was 1. And then station 4 had NPP recording 61 votes, parliamentary 63 votes. We had NDC recording 110 votes for presidential, and parliamentary they had 112. Independent candidate was 3, APC was 1. Alan Chairmanton had 1. And then Station 3, we had presidential NPP 62. Parliamentary, we had 62. NDC presidential, we had 84. And then with the parliamentary, we had 83. Rejected ballots were 2. And then Alan Chairmanton also had 1. In total, for the Medina Police Station Center, presidential, we had NPP recording 332. NDC recording presidential 406. Independent was 9. APC had 1. Alan Chairmanton had 1. And then rejected ballots, we had 3. For parliamentary, Francis Xavier Sosu for NDC had 403. Robert Lamptey from the NPP polled 347. Independent candidates had 3, and then rejected ballots were 2. So all these results are for the Medina Police Station from Center 1, Center 2, Center 3, Center 4 to Center 5. This is what we had at Medina. Joshua.
Very well. Monica Bukari, thank you so much for bringing us updates from Medina. That's Sosu's constituency, and that's where the NDC also rounded off its campaign at the Zurak Park. But let's go to the Eastern region, and really what.
I can hear you. I know you can hear me.
Your line is not stable. If you could just reposition so that we can hear you more clearly. Well, so we'll reconnect to Prince ACN, who is on the grounds in the Eastern region, and get a proper appreciation of what is happening in Odan. That's where Prince is stationed in Odan. These are all independent coalition here.
Joins us from the Tema West constituency. Benjamin, good evening. Hello, Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Benjamin.
Hello, so I can hear
yes.
you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great. So currently I am on the West constituency coalition center, which is indeed the secondary school, where the coalition has been done for the West constituency. And just some 3 minutes ago, we walked in here and we've been one after the other polling station officers together and get you to appreciate what currently is happening with some of them submitting their results. There it is, you can see in yourself, these are the candidates. There you have in yourself some of the officers who have just returned from the polling station and are currently submitting their electoral material together with the results from the various polling stations here in the Tema West frequency. Early on in the evening when the polls were closed, and we saw the results were counted, recent results released, it's as though it is going to be a very close battle here in Tema West constituency. That has always been blue. When I say blue, NPP, and since its election, but looks as though this year the green color or the green party is making some inroads according to the result of the provisional results in the system so far here in the West. But we are waiting to get a few more of the results keeping to now out in here, then we can project a lot more of this for our listeners and our viewers.
Where was he? Well, we apologize for the sound issues there, but that's Benjamin Yama reporting from the Tema West constituency. This is your election hub. We still have our correspondents across the country. We're bringing you the results as and when we have them from the Electoral Commission, but trust our correspondent to be bringing you the provisional results from the Electoral Commission as well. Joshua.
So much happening across the country, and just like, you know, water pours, the results are also pouring in by the minutes. But what we do also know is that there is so much happening in Old Tafo, and so we'll be going there shortly to bring you updates in Old Tafo. And we've also learned of other things that are also happening even at the headquarters of the various political parties. But we'll also touch base with more correspondents on the grounds to give you up-to-the-minute updates on what is happening. So let's cross over to our constituency. Kole Klote is joining us. Drew, tell me, what is happening in Klote Kole?
At our center, which is the collation center for the Polyclote constituency. Now, behind me is
Well, we see. Well, Zulaya, if you can unmute, we lost you there briefly. Hello, Zulaya. Okay, we'll work that out and get back to Zulaya, who is in Clote. She says she's at the Arts Center polling station, and then we'll get to know exactly what the figures are saying, whether or not Valentino is making inroads, or Kwale Clote is still remaining with Zaneto Rollins at Kwale Clote. But we'll be getting there shortly.
Yeah, but I think that when you look at the Clote constituency, watchers have always said that Zaneto is likely to retain the seat.
Right.
I know that Ninoy has done quite some work. There was a time where he put up some street lights and posted them on social media. Yeah. But as to whether that and the other things that he did was enough for the people to want to make him Member of Parliament, we'll be finding out very shortly, but we'll try and reconnect the line and speak with our correspondent Zulaya and hear what the numbers and the figures are saying. But Clote Cole really is, Well, we understand that Zulaya is back. Zulaya, good evening. Hopefully this time your connection is better. What have you got for us?
Good evening, Sarah.
Yes,
so currently I'm at Art Center, which is the collation center for the Polyclote constituency. Now, behind me are officials, EC officials, who are all gathered here to collate their results from the various polling stations in the constituency. I have here with me the provisional results from Blogodo Gardens A1. Now, with the presidential, NPP got 74, while the NDC got 321. Now, the total votes expected were 647, while the people who showed up to vote were 403. Now, moving on to the provisional results for Blogodo Garden Center 2, the presidential, NPP got 15, while the NDC got 76. Now, the total registered votes for this particular polling station is 157, but only 93 showed up to vote. So here we can say that the voters didn't really show up to vote, and so the outcome is low, as you can see.
All right, Zulaya, thank you very much for bringing us updates from the Kwale Clote constituency there with this incumbent Member of Parliament, Zaneto Rollins, and Ninoy Valentino Ninoy, who wants to take over that seat. As to whether that will happen, we'll find out in a couple of hours. But that's my colleague Zulaya there from the Kwale Clote constituency. We have some results from the Hohoi constituency. We have from some of the polling centers that my colleague Jones Aji has sent through the provisional results from the Electoral Commission, and the new Magistrate Court A presidential election presidential results: NPP 31, NDC 220. For parliamentary, NPP 72, NDC 180. New Magistrate Court B, NPP 36, NDC 214. Parliamentary, NPP 78, NDC 178. Ame Zion Church Hohoi Presidential, NDC 248, NPP 23. And parliamentary, NPP 79, NDC 197. You know, when I see results coming in from the Volta region, especially this time, no surprises, because, you know, the members of parliament for that region,
the Volta caucus.
The Volta caucus have complained about neglect for a very long time, especially when the NPP is in power. You remember the Volta Dam spillage, where Nanado went there and, okay. Let's hold on. We'll come back to this, but let's go to Dambai in the Oti region and speak with our correspondent there.
Peter Rock is
Rock.
there.
Peter Rock, good evening.
Okay, so here in the OT regional capital, that is Dambai, I've monitored 2 police stations, and the first one is LAJSSA, and the presidential MPP had, NDC had 220, Alan had 1, and 8 rejected ballots. The parliamentary NPP had 50, NDC had 208, and then that one also we had 8 rejected ballots. And when you come to HSP, we have NPP had 31, NDC had 238, GUM had 1, APC had 1, and Chada also had 1. When you go to the parliamentary, NPP had 54, NDC had 225, and 2 rejected ballots. That is what I have gathered so far with the 2 police stations.
All right, Peter Rock, thank you so much. That is Peter Rock reporting from Dambai in the Oti region there. Joshua.
Yes, and of course today we have eyes everywhere. And so let's cross over now to the national headquarters of the National Democratic Congress. My colleague Obed Kingaglo is stationed there, and he reports that party members have started massing up there. Obed, talk to me. How is the picture like there? Hello, Obed? Okay, so we'll be getting back to Obed shortly, but what we are receiving from the national headquarters of the EC is that party members are already jubilating and have started master of how the NDC headquarters is looking at the moment. Right, so we'll get back to that, and clearly it looks like people are celebrating too early as it stands now. I mean, these are elections. Provisional results are coming in, but you can understand how political parties will like to take advantage of the momentum and take advantage of the situation at hand. And that is why we are also seeing people going to the NDC headquarters. Well, it's not as though the results will be declared there.
Yeah, well, anyways. But then they'll definitely mount a stage there, right, or a TV, a giant screen for the declaration of the results. No surprises, you know, no surprises at all.
But we should massage expectations.
Of course. You know, 4 years ago around this time, there was a press conference ongoing addressed by the then General Secretary of the party saying that the party was in a comfortable lead. And we didn't see that lead materialize. Right. And so, yes, I get you when you say that people should calm down in the jubilation. We are not saying that anyone is losing or anyone is winning, but it's still very early for the celebration. But sometimes when you see the trend at which some of the results are coming in, we haven't really gotten results from the Eastern region, right? Okay.
But we'll get more.
We'll definitely will get more. Right. Let's go to Obed now. Joshua was trying to connect with him earlier. Obed is stationed at the national headquarters of the NDC, where we understand there's a lot of jubilation. The supporters have massed up. Obed, what do you have for us? Hello, Obed. Hello, Obed. Good evening. Behind you, what's going on? Hello, Obed. He's there, and so he's unable to hear us. But Obed,
Congress is winning this election. They say they've had results from a number of constituencies signaling that the party is garnering some majority in parliament. Let me speak to some of the supporters who have showed up here at the national headquarters of the party, waiting patiently for the officials of the party to address them. They are optimistic that they are winning this election. Let me engage one of them quickly. GH1.
You are welcome to.
Why are you here this evening?
I'm here to come and witness the election, like how they are calling, out. How do you say, I want to hear the news about who won the elections. That's why I'm here.
Me no. Then what so far?
The things like almost constituency with Zinato and Wawini and Nunamati.
Now what about other constituencies? What to say?
Obina from free voter say Omadi Peter Amewu and Nunamati. Apart from them in TV,
how does it make you feel? How you feel about all these?
Oh, I'm not feeling very. I want to know the presidential. That's why I'm really here.
So you are interested in the presidential results?
I'm here. I want to know the particular who won the presidential elections.
What is your wish? What are you looking out for?
I'm wishing for change. That's why I'm here. I'm wishing for change. That's why I'm here to witness. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Let me engage you to. I see you are here this evening, right here at the national headquarters of the NDC. How are you feeling? Why are you here?
Now, I feel okay. How I feel okay now until I get the president win election. I feel okay now. So I'm still steady. That is what I hear. Thank you.
Right, so those are some party sympathizers of the NDC who are here this evening at the headquarters of the NDC, waiting patiently for the officials. We entered the headquarters and we saw that the party is collating its own results, and from what I saw, although they asked us to go out for the moment, the party is optimistic that they are winning the presidential. If you can see behind me, the road to the party headquarters has been blocked so that the vehicular passage here will be smooth to avoid any accident whatsoever. And so that's the situation here at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress, where supporters and sympathizers of the party are massing up gradually, optimistic that the party is winning the elections.
Well, Obed, thank you so much. You're welcome too. For bringing up the NDC's headquarters. But yes, I mean, people are getting the same things that we're getting, but it's important for most of them that they get to know who the president is. And for these supporters, they're waiting for John Dramani Mahama to be declared. Wish, though, that we could see what is happening, in the headquarters, at the headquarters of the NPP. Yeah. Joshua, what do you have?
Well, let's go to Dom Kwabenya, one of the most populous constituencies, and let's speak to Dinah Binyam. She's there. Dinah, how is Dom Kwabenya reacting today?
Well, it's okay. It's not that bad. Everything is going. I am at the Collation Center for the Dom Kwabenya constituency. So here, right behind me, you can see they have been able to display a projector to make the process easier and then accessible to everyone, since they do not want everyone to get into their building. I think the security personnel are putting in much more efforts to get that done.
Okay. So, Diana, talk to me. Do we have any figures so far from Dom Kwabenya?
Yes, so from Assembly Parliament Center, you could have 582 voters, and then we have 3 rejected ballots. The NDC also, we have 170 votes cast, and then the MPP, we have 127. The PNDC, we have 0, and then the PPP, we have 2. So total ballot cast is 302. While we move from that, let's move on to the Center B. So for the Center B, we have for the presidential candidates, that's 306. We have the MPP, 114. And then the NDC, that is 118. Yes. Now when we go to the parliamentary, we have 305. the NDC 174, and then the MPP we have 129. PNDC had just 1 vote, and then PPP had 1 vote. And then the total valid votes is 305. So currently that's what I have. So we are waiting on them to go and then get more data to get this done.
Well, thank you so much, Diana Binyam, for bringing us updates from Dom Kwabenya. And as and when we do have more figures from that constituency, we'll bring you details of that. But information we are also picking now indicates that there is some level of unrest, some challenges with Okankwe North.
Yeah.
There are some challenges there.
Yeah.
We'll be crossing over to bring you the incident there. But what we do know for now is that some tear gas was fired.
It's actually, we have the videos on your screens now.
And as you can see on your screens, there's a lady who we are told was affected by the firing of tear gas in Okankwe North. And so we'll be getting more details on why that tear gas was fired and exactly what the situation currently is on the grounds. But as you can see on your screens, a lady who was affected by the tear gas that was shot in Okankwe North will be there pretty soon, and we'll let you know. But we understand currently choked, and the police fired the tear gas. As to why the police fired the tear gas, we are yet to get that for you. But as and when we do...
Isaac Abila reporting from the Ningo Prampram constituency. I have seen a post from Sam George saying there's a green wave. I mean, we knew, political watchers had said that Sam George was going to retain that seat. But let's get the official numbers from that constituency. Isaac, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. What do you have for us?
Oh, well, I'm reporting here from the collation center. Voting was done and the counting was made. And Sam George, though it's not been officially announced, I think the result there was in his favor, and most of the results here was in the favor of Sam George. It is pretty true, and when you watch the streets, I'm inside the collation center now, but when you get out of the seats, you can see children, you can see the youth. They are jubilating, they are dancing because they believe that Sam George has won the race as the next member of parliament for the Ningo Prampram constituency. And so the various collations and the various results from the polling centers are being carried into the collation center. And so behind me is the collation center, and the results are being carried in there. And so very soon, all is set, the media is set, the executive and the leaders are set to announce the official results from this constituency. But considering the waves, considering the numbers we had on the field, Sam George has won. And when it comes to the presidential, the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahammatu has won in this constituency according to the provisional results. But then officially, we are yet to start with the official constituency collation. But you can see behind me here, the youth of the community or the residents of Ningo Prampram, they are struggling with the Ghana police to come inside the collation center. And that appeal or that petition is what the police have not agreed. And so they are arguing with the Ghana police to enter the collation center, and that has been the disagreement out here. So the cars are coming in, the results are coming in, but the constituents here too are forcing to come in, and that has brought a disagreement, an argument between the constituents and the Ghana police. There's been some kind of coalition inside here. It's a coalition center where all is set, and the Electoral Commission officials are about to start with the constituency coalition.
Right, so you see there your shots from Ningo Prampram, and my colleague Isaac Abila is going to the coalition center, the regional, the constituency coalition center. But it appears that supporters of Samuel Nete George are jubilating because the provisional results that they have so far indicates that Sam George is in a very comfortable lead. But we'll be bringing you very shortly the official results from that coalition center. Thank you very much, Isaac Abila. No surprises there at all. No surprises there. Last night we talked about this, that when you mention Samuel Nete George's name, you don't only just know him for his constituency, but for what he's currently fighting for, the nationally, the anti-gay bill. Even for those who don't like what he's fighting for, they still know him. Whereas his other candidate, the opposition, you hardly hear anything, about him at all. So no surprises there if the results are declared in his favor.
Yes,
right?
and for me, I'm curious to know the actual figures. Sam George has always been touting how he's going to get a whopping 100,000 votes for John Mahama and for himself in this election in Ningo Pram. And so I'm curious to get to know from the Constituency Coalition Center the actual figures in this election. And then we can just oppose that with what happened in 2020 and look at the margin in terms of whether he performed better than he did in 2020. So yes, no surprises there at all in Ningo Pram. I mean, it's Sam George, and I'm sure that most people expected that this would happen in that particular region. And so it's not surprising to see that people have already poured onto the streets to jubilate in favor of Sam George and the NDC in Ningo Pram. And so yes, I mean, for me, I don't think anybody, also you had your doubts.
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. Not for Sam George.
There are certain constituencies that, yes, even when you're contesting, you on the ticket of a certain party based on the history in that constituency, you don't get too excited and you don't do too much, knowing very well that, well, you might just be making yourself known to the constituency, but winning is quite difficult, because when you look at the trajectory of Ningo Pram, it's comfortably been in the hands of the NDC from the days of E.T. Mensah and early.
And it doesn't appear to be going in his favor.
This earlier this morning, everything went smoothly from the various polling stations. There were no incidents recorded. In most of the polling stations that I visited earlier in the day, everything was going on smoothly and peacefully. And across the region, as I was also getting information from the various polling stations as well, if my memory serves me right, it really was at Bangkok, where as at 5:20 get verified biometrically. So they had to use the facial recognition rather than the thumb printing to recognize them, and that was where the delay had set in. As at around 5:23. Close to 50 people were still on the queue, and they had to relocate the polling materials to a different location at the place. And I was actually surprised that it was very calm. It didn't seem like it was something that they needed to raise concerns about. But it went smoothly. Results from the Kambali.
Thank you so much. That's Roberts reporting from WAS. Can we continue with our conversation? And I'm just hope we'll be taking you live to the Fleur East constituency. Fleur East constituency.
And we had that conversation here yesterday. And when you look at when you look at the 2020 election results, like Ivy told us, and we checked and realized that election. And the big question is, with that guy deciding not to run in 2024, where would those 9,000?
Good evening. What do you have for us?
Good evening, sir. So currently in Oda constituency, they are done with sorting, counting everything. We are now at the coalition center putting the figures together. We have received some figures from some political parties as we get that information, because that seat was occupied by the NPP. To picking intel that they have lost that seat, since we cannot confirm that, we are making provisions so that we get in touch there or touch grounds and then get, and for this constituency, the Member of Parliament gains the East Northern constituency.
There, who says that the police are firing, even though we have seen a statement from Kodeo and other election observers say that this election by far has been peaceful, not characterized by the level of violence. Absolutely no reason, because they're having that press conference we told you about.
Constituency coalition is of utmost importance. Are duly collated forms after the results have been declared, agents have signed, or better still,
we have Ahmed Tijani joining us also with some updates. Ahmed, talk to me. Where exactly are you, and what's the update from the coalition center there?
Well, currently I'm in Shutipi South constituency, one of the hottest constituency in the Habu. A number of supporters and a number of people are out here, but security has been very tight, and they are not allowing them to come in. Before the exercise began, the Member of Parliament for the constituency, Alhaji Collins Dauda, voted at Mehame, who were expected to vote at the close of Marble. Now, our listeners, so if you come to the Mehame constituency or the Shutipi South at the Mehame polling station, we had the first polling station being the Methodist Church, where the Honorable MP voted. Presidential ballot as follows, where the NDC had 202, NPP had 138, and 10 rejected ballots. The rest had zeros. And the parliamentary, we had 4 rejected ballots, NDC polling station. We went to another polling station, which is Mehame Methodist primary, DA primary, which is A and B. And now when you come to the B, we expected 744 to vote at the polling station, and the presidential results are as follows. We had NDC getting 224, NPP 129, rejected ballot 4, parliamentary, the Member of Parliament, and so rejected ballot there was 7. The NDC in the Shutipi South, according to their internal coalition, are saying that the Member of Parliament will set coalition center waiting to see if indeed that hottest constituency also in the Shinafo, which is a Shinafo North, yes, Shinafo North, where we have Ivan Sopoku Bobie as the current MP and Deputy Minister for Sports. Now, when you go to that constituency, the results indicate that this time around, they are also saying per their coalition or internal coalition, the parliamentary candidate for the NDC is also making it. And so they are painting Goso, Mim Ayum, so Fawyaden Community Green, and that is what is happening. But we are currently in a Shutipi South now, and that is the coalition center where we are trying to see what is going to happen from the EC. But all this noise that is going out are just projections to see what's going to happen. So we are still here, and anything that falls, we will not hesitate.
Well, Ahmed Tijani there from giving us some updates on the situation there, and we'll be getting back to him to get more
transparency. Passing over to Emmanuel Ejabin soon. Also, I believe that we'll be filling up some of the maps, the spaces in the maps, yes. And then we will see how we're doing and how we're inching closer to the declaration. But this is still your election night. We're with you until the last ballot is counted. We've told you that from the beginning, and till a winner is declared, even for the presidential. We are with you through it all. We are live on GH1 television. We are live on Facebook. We are live on X. We are live on YouTube as well. You can join us anywhere you are in the world. This is your election hub. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation on social media. Please tune in and stay with us here for credible, accurate results. Joshua.
Definitely, because this is where we provide you the information as and when they do come in. Like we said earlier, yesterday, no bias whatsoever, no favoritism whatsoever. All we do is to give you the information as it is presented. And like we said earlier, we're going to have a series of press conferences between now until the final declaration. And so stick with us here, because we know Electoral Commission will be holding press conferences. The various parties will also be hosting press conferences. We just heard from the NDC calling on its members to make their ways to the various constituency coalition centers and be vigilant and make sure that they do not lose sight of the ballot papers and the numbers, just so that, well, nobody has to come some days later and say, well, the elections were rigged, I had this and this was rather shown. Would not want any Supreme Court cases also happening again. So the NDC has instructed its party members to make their ways to the constituency coalition centers. But clearly, it tells you something, that the NDC has ramped up efforts to make sure that all the things they talked about earlier, talking about the fact that there were plans and plots allegedly to rig the polls in favor of the NPP, among others, all this, and get that work.
To our YouTube channel at EIB Network and GH1 Television, so that you're able to follow everything that... Joshua, yesterday we're looking at some constituency showdown, and Emmanuel, are you ready for us? You know, some of them and far shows that at the parliamentary level, Dr. Okoboy is in a very comfortable lead. Yeah. But it will be very interesting to know what the final results are for the Lejokuku constituency. One of the key constituencies that I'm looking out for as well is Ayawaso West Wuogon. I know, I have seen what's on social media, but we don't have official numbers from the Electoral Commission yet, and so we will not say anything, you know, confirm or deny. We'll just wait for the Electoral Commission to give the official data as to what the numbers are.
But when you look at the provisional results coming in from our man on the grounds, it points to the campuses. And when you look at the polling stations on campus, it is following a certain trend in terms of the provisional results that we are receiving. But then Ayawaso West Wuogon is also a huge constituency. So it's not only on the University of Ghana campus, and so we await results from outside. Like I said, we've consistently said, it's early days yet. So when we get the full picture, we'll also let you know exactly what is happening in Ayawaso West Wuogon. But what we do know also is that the situation in Okankwe North, as it stands now, is quite also sensitive. Police, we understand, is firing tear gas in Okankwe North and pepper spray, among others. We are not readily finished with what exactly led to that situation, but we'll get more details from our correspondent on the ground. But we saw the visuals earlier where a woman had fallen as a result of the tear gas that was fired. We need to hear from the police also as to what is resulting. Follow us on social media, because that's where we are also streaming live, and you can get to be a part of the conversation. And later on in the show, I'm sure we'll also be reading some of your comments. So let the conversation go.
We'll be joined by Dr. Frederick Odu, who is a governance expert. We'll be looking at some of these constituencies that we've talked about, the ones that are of very high interest. We'll look at some of the results coming in so far and how the various parties are performing. And we have some provisional results from Asawase so far, and I would like to put that out. So from Asawase has 214 polling stations. We currently have the results of about 140 out of the 214. And Manaf Ibrahim of the NPP so far has about 18,524, whilst Muntaka Mubarak of the NDC has 26,362. Once again, no surprises. When Dr. Frederick Odu joins us, we will go through the constituencies with him. We will look at some of the things that have happened today. We'll look at voter turnout, the incidents of violence, the misinformation, because you know that photo that went viral, that some ballot papers, had. It's that thing that ballot papers had been given to people and whatnot, which appeared to be false because they were dummy ballot papers that was used for education and a lot of other things. As it stands for today, we know that one person unfortunately has lost their lives as a result of the election, which is very wrong. No one is supposed to die, not encourage it. And there's another video that I saw that was totally heartbreaking from let me double check the area, but you saw the one that the military was in fisticuffs with civilians, and they had their guns on. The military, in fact, both of them were wrong, because how are you even as a civilian doing such or going head on with a military man who is wielding his gun, and the guns were on them? It could have shot and killed so many people in that area who were present there, and also I get the argument. Yesterday we talked about this, the NDC complaining that the president should stop the militarization of the elections because they had seen some military men. But I think that the NDC should also know that these military men, yes, will come in when it's needed, but they will not be in their barracks. They should be at least around, right?
Closer,
what do you have?
So that when they're called upon, they can come in. But let's go to Ablekuma West constituency. Blessing Bliss from Pong is there for us. She earlier gave us some figures from there, but let's get to understand. Blessing, what new is happening in Ablekuma West as we speak?
3,837 votes. Remember that these are provisional results.
Mount Olivet right here at Dansoman. And earlier when we arrived, we had some ballot boxes stranded outside. We did not know why they were not allowed in, especially when security wasn't present. So constituents were actually complaining about the security of the ballot boxes as they were left stranded outside the gate. As you can see behind me, we are still stranded outside the gate. We are not allowed into the premises, the collation center. And then there have been allegations of ballot boxes without seals. So a while ago, we could hear the constituents chant that no seal, no entry, it has to go back. But we have some constituents around who have some ballot papers here that they claim are fake.
Actually, we voted. It's going to run.
Now, where did you find that?
This one, it was just one outside. It was come on.
These are without serial numbers.
Yes. Without stamp.
These are without stamp. Where did you find them?
The box was good.
These were found in the boxes that are having no seals. Okay. Were you able to get the boxes without the
official? Please don't fight vote against official.
constituency, where the residents there or the electorate are rejecting some ballot boxes because they say the ballot boxes are without seal. And earlier, Blessing Bliss from POM, our reporter on the grounds, also walked and see. And now the development happening there with the ballot boxes are not sealed. And so once they are without a comfortable...
Welcome, Dr. Frederick Oduro, who is a governance expert.